One of the most misunderstood parts about credit cards and reward travel and all this type of stuff is the minimum spend for the intro bonuses that these cards have. A lot of people talk about how they got 100K Amex points or Chase UR points, whatever the case is. But a lot of people from the outside looking in don't understand that these cards have minimum spends for the intro bonuses. So what I have here is a bunch of cards on NerdWallet, and we can see some of the intro bonuses and examples of what I'm talking about. So we have, for example, the Chase Sapphire Preferred. This is 75K Chase UR points, but you can see it's 5K in the first 3 months. So that's pretty standard intro bonus, minimum spend for credit card, especially a luxury credit card that we're talking about, luxury travel. So 5K in the first 3 months, you'll see stuff like this. Sometimes it's 3K in 3 months and so on, right? So we'll look at some other examples. Now, the Capital One Venture card, this is not a luxury credit card. This is, you see, $95 annual fee, which is actually the same as the Sapphire Preferred, but it has a 250 travel credit and then a 75K bonus miles. So this is 75K like the Chase card, but also has a $250 travel credit. And then this is 4K in the first 3 months of account opening. So it's $1,000 less. And then we could look at one more example. This is a big one. This is 100K Amex points for the gold Amex Gold card, 100K points, but you got to spend 6K in 6 months. Another crazy example was the Chase Sapphire Reserve business card that I believe there was a revamp, or it just came out like a couple months ago. I did a video on it that had like 200K points after I think it was like $20,000, $15,000 in spend in 6 months or whatever. So that's probably the biggest example I've seen. But what I wanted to talk about in this video was how to actually hit those numbers, because a lot of people, again, don't understand it. They hear different people know different things about travel reward cards and stuff like that, but they don't understand to get that 50K points, 75K points, 100K, you have to spend money. So a lot of people don't know how to hit those numbers because they see 6K in 6 months and they're like, oh, I can't do that. So that locks out a lot of people. But the actual ways to do it is, for example, using it for your biggest expense, which most people's biggest expense is rent or mortgage, is housing, right? So housing being rent or mortgage, right? So because of that, that's going to be one of your best avenues to be able to hit a minimum spend on one of these credit cards, right? Now, for some people, obviously your mileage may vary. It can depend. 5K in 3 months, that might be easy for some people to hit with just like regular day-to-day living. And obviously, maybe it is for 6K in 6 months. That's a more spread out term, obviously, right? Because a lot of times it is 3 months. That's standard. But if you don't have, if that's not day to day how much you're gonna be spending, I would recommend putting it on rent now, or rent or mortgage, right? Now, a lot of people make the argument against it because they talk about fees and stuff. In my experience, I have not seen that, but that's why the bill card exists. That's why the bill card came out and it was super popular. So a lot of people have that issue, right? Now, it's going to depend obviously on how much fees and whatnot you get for it as well. But I do think if you can do it, it's going to be one of the best for getting that outsized value of a credit card. Because again, you got to remember, for these cards, 7,500 Chase UR points, that's going to be close to $1,000 in value. This MX MR points, 100K, this is going to be over $1,000 in value. So even if you do get some fees from using your credit card to pay your rent or mortgage, it's still going to be big value in the long run. So I would say that's one of the best routes to take, because again, a lot of people don't think about that, and a lot of people think as well that you can't even use a credit card for paying rent or mortgage, which is not true. So that to me, I think is one of the best options. But you really do have to take that into account, how you're gonna pay a intro bonus minimum spend for a lot of people, because they see this 75K points, but you got to remember that it comes with a price tag. Now, obviously, the ideal way of doing this and the logic behind this is that you're paying even a big one, right? Or it cancels out with the gold card. But the logic with this is that you're gonna pay 4K in the first 3 months to get 75K bonus miles with this credit card. The logic is you are going to spend this money in those next 3 months either way. So you don't want to spend money that you weren't going to spend, because now you're getting played by the bank by doing that. The logic is you are going to spend this money regardless in these next 3 months or through that time span, and then you're just getting these points on top of that, right? So that's the logic. That's how you got to think about it. So this is a topic some people don't really talk about, some people don't really think about either. But I wanted to go through this so you guys could see how that actually worked, of actually being able to hit these minimum spends. Because if you can hit the minimum spends, then you're getting a ton of points, a ton of outsized value. But you got to really think of how to actually do that. Because if you can, you're gonna reap the benefits. But if you can't, or if you're not really calculating it beforehand with your expenses, you could be in some trouble. So let me know what you guys think of this video. Comments below. See you guys in the next one.